Welcome to Books and More, a channel where we explore the most inspiring books that can change the way you think, work, and live. Today, we'll dive into The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz, a powerful guide for entrepreneurs who want to build a business that grows strong, healthy, and fulfilling. Through the simple but profound metaphor of growing a giant pumpkin, the author reveals how to focus on what truly matters, eliminate distractions, and nurture your best opportunities. This book isn't just about business success, it's about creating a life of clarity, purpose, and lasting growth. Introduction: The Pumpkin Plan. I began this book with a familiar image, a pumpkin festival where hundreds of pumpkins crowd the field, yet only one enormous, radiant pumpkin captures everyone's attention. Among countless ordinary pumpkins, only one stands out, unique, magnificent, impossible to ignore. That image is the perfect metaphor for business. In a world full of companies, only those that nurture their own giant pumpkin, their most powerful idea, product, or customer, truly thrive and endure. I was once a young entrepreneur, full of ambition but drained of energy, trapped in endless work and stress. Like many others, I mistook busyness for progress. I tried to please everyone, serve every customer, and chase every opportunity, until I realized I was growing lots of small, weak pumpkins instead of one great one. The Pumpkin Plan was born from that moment of awakening. I discovered that giant pumpkin farmers follow a simple but powerful principle. Choose the strongest seed, cut away the weak ones, clear out the weeds, and pour all energy into the one pumpkin with the greatest potential. When I applied that principle to business, I found the secret to exponential growth: focus. Focus on what you do best, the clients who love you most, and the work that brings the greatest value. This book is my invitation for you to do the same. It's not a theory, it's a step-by-step method for transforming your business, from identifying your best seed, pruning distractions, nurturing your core, to harvesting your own giant pumpkin. Success, I learned, doesn't come from doing more, but from doing less and doing it better. When you stop spreading yourself thin and start cultivating what truly matters, your business and your life will grow stronger, brighter, and far more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Chapter 1: The Half-Ton Pumpkin That Saved My Life. I still remember the moment my mentor, Frank, looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're going to become a miserable failure if you keep this up." At the time, I was running a small tech company called Olmec, making nearly $1 million a year, yet I was exhausted, anxious, and completely trapped. I worked nonstop, trying to please every client, worrying about every paycheck, convinced that hard work alone would lead me to success. But I wasn't building a business, I was building a cage. Frank woke me up with advice that sounded insane. If you want to succeed, fire some of your customers. He told me to divide them into two groups: the great ones who brought real value, and the toxic ones who drained my time and spirit. Keep the first, cut the rest, he said. It terrified me, but Frank was a man who had turned a small company into an $80 million empire. He knew something I didn't. Growth isn't about addition. It's about subtraction. One day, I read an article about a farmer who had grown a half-ton pumpkin, and everything clicked. The farmer had devoted his life to perfecting a process, selecting the strongest seed, watering it consistently, removing weeds, cutting off the weak pumpkins, and feeding all nutrients to the one that could grow the biggest. That was the business model I had been missing. I realized I was like a careless farmer planting too many seeds, too many projects, too many clients, too many ideas, and starving them all in the process. To grow something extraordinary, I had to do what the pumpkin farmer did: clear the field, eliminate distractions, and pour everything into my best seed, my ideal clients, my best product, and my greatest strength. Once I began focusing on those, everything changed. Work became lighter, clients happier, and profits stronger. For the first time, I felt in control, not as a slave to my business, but as its true owner. From that experience, the Pumpkin Plan was born, a system for escaping chaos and building a company that grows with purpose and power. The lesson of this chapter is simple but profound. Success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things and doing them well. When you have the courage to cut away the mediocre and commit to the exceptional, your business will expand beyond anything you thought possible, just like that giant pumpkin that changed the way I see everything. Chapter 2: Dying Slowly in Misery. I met Bruce one afternoon at my son's soccer practice. He recognized me as the author of The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur and confessed that, despite his admiration for the book, he was on the verge of collapse. Bruce ran a small wedding services company, generating nearly $700,000 a year, yet he was broke, exhausted, and borrowing money from his parents just to get by. He worked around the clock, juggling every task himself, managing venues, arranging flowers, helping other vendors, even cleaning up after events. He believed that working harder would save his business, but the harder he worked, the deeper he sank. Bruce's story reminded me of my own darkest chapter, a state I call dying slowly in misery. It's the place where so many entrepreneurs live, waking up tired, going to bed anxious, trapped in a loop of endless effort that never moves them forward. We start with big dreams, but the daily grind drains us of passion and clarity. Over time, we convince ourselves that struggle is normal, that pain is the price of ambition. We stop growing and start surviving. When Bruce came to me for advice, I told him bluntly that he wasn't ready to change because he was still holding on to fear. The truth is, transformation only begins when you hit rock bottom and stop making excuses. So I offered to help him, not for money, but for a single beer. We began by stripping away everything unnecessary: the fancy car, the unprofitable clients, the side projects, even the employees who no longer fit. At first, Bruce panicked. He thought cutting back meant losing everything. But I knew the opposite was true. You have to let go of what's killing you to save what's worth keeping. Slowly, Bruce saw the results. His stress decreased, his best clients stayed, and his profits began to rise. More importantly, he started to breathe again. Watching him change made me realize a painful truth. Most entrepreneurs don't fail because they make mistakes. They fail because they refuse to let go. Fear of loss keeps them chained to mediocrity, bleeding out their time and energy until the business and their spirit dies a slow death. But it doesn't have to be that way. Dying slowly in misery isn't destiny, it's a choice. You can keep grinding yourself down, or you can stop, face the truth, and take action. The moment you decide to clear out the weeds, you make space for growth to return. Just like a farmer must cut away the diseased vines to save the crop, an entrepreneur must learn to prune, ruthlessly and courageously. That's the first step toward rebirth and the beginning of building something truly alive again. Chapter 3: The Seed. After realizing how trapped I had been, I understood the first rule of growing a giant pumpkin: start with the right seed. In business, that seed is your greatest natural strength, the thing you do better than anyone else, the work that fills you with energy instead of draining it. Too many entrepreneurs chase trends or follow the market's noise, trying to be everything to everyone. But a weak seed, no matter how fertile the soil, will never produce a giant pumpkin. Only the strongest, most focused seed can. For years, I was guilty of planting too many seeds. I took on every client, every project, every opportunity that came my way. I believed that more meant better. But the truth was the opposite. The more I did, the less I grew. It wasn't until I stopped chasing everything and asked myself what I was truly great at that my business started to change. I discovered that success isn't about adding things, it's about refining, cutting away the unnecessary until what's left is pure, strong, and alive. Finding your seed requires brutal honesty. It might not be what you wish it were. It could be a simple skill you've overlooked, a small niche where you naturally excel, or a way you serve customers that no one else can match. Don't choose your seed because it's trendy or because others say it's valuable. Choose it because it's yours. When you build your business around what you're best at and what you love, growth happens naturally. You stop pushing and start attracting. In this chapter, I challenge you to ask 3 crucial questions. What work makes you feel most alive? Which customers make you proud to serve them? What results make you feel like you're truly making a difference? Your answers will point directly to your seed. Once you find it, your job isn't to plant more seeds, it's to nurture that one seed relentlessly. Every great company you've ever admired began this way. One clear focus, one great strength, one seed planted deeply and cared for with consistency. The seed represents more than just your business. It's your identity, your purpose, and your reason for doing what you do. When you discover that seed and give it your full devotion, you're no longer just running a business. You're cultivating something extraordinary. Because when you nurture the right seed, it doesn't just grow, it transforms everything around it. Chapter 4. Clearing the Field. Once you've found your strongest seed, the next essential step is to clear the field, to remove everything that prevents it from growing to its full potential. In farming, a giant pumpkin can't thrive in a crowded patch. The smaller pumpkins, weeds, and tangled vines steal its nutrients and space. In business, those weeds are the unprofitable clients, unnecessary products, side projects, and distractions that drain your focus and energy. If you want your seed to grow into something extraordinary, you must be ruthless in clearing your field. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I clung to every project that brought in even a little money, terrified of losing income or disappointing someone. I said yes to every opportunity, believing that staying busy meant staying successful. But in truth, I was starving my best work. My time, my team, and my creativity were being consumed by things that didn't matter. The day I decided to clear the field, to eliminate everything that didn't align with my core mission, was the day my business began to breathe again. Clearing the field requires courage. It means saying no to things that feel safe but don't serve your vision. It means letting go of long-time customers who no longer fit, or ending projects that once seemed promising but now hold you back. It's uncomfortable, even painful, just like a farmer cutting away healthy-looking vines to save the main one. But the truth is, growth demands sacrifice. You cannot grow your best pumpkin if you insist on feeding all the others. When I began cutting back, something remarkable happened. Instead of collapsing, my business became lighter, faster, and more profitable. My team had space to focus, our clients noticed the difference, and I rediscovered the joy of creating something meaningful. By simplifying, we amplified. By subtracting, we multiplied. Clearing the field isn't just a tactical step, it's a mindset shift. It's about moving from fear to focus, from survival to strategy. When you stop measuring success by how much you do and start measuring it by how well you do what matters most, everything changes. You find clarity, energy, and momentum that you didn't know you had. This chapter is a reminder that growth doesn't come from addition, but from subtraction. Just as a giant pumpkin farmer removes everything that steals strength from the main vine, you must remove whatever weakens your business. When the clutter is gone, your seed will finally have the room and the power to grow into something truly remarkable. Chapter 5. The Farmer's Way. After choosing the strongest seed and clearing the field, the next lesson is learning the farmer's way, the patient, disciplined method of nurturing what truly matters. A master farmer doesn't chase every plant in the field. He tends to one vine, one fruit with unwavering attention. He knows that greatness doesn't come from working harder or faster, but from working smarter, doing the right things at the right time over and over again. In business, the same truth applies. Lasting success comes from focus, rhythm, and care, not from chaos or overwork. For a long time, I acted like a careless farmer. I planted too many seeds, watered everything equally, and wondered why nothing grew strong. When problems arose, I tried to fix them by doing more calls, more hours, more clients. But real farmers don't behave that way. They have a system. They observe, they prune, they focus, and they nurture. Once I understood that, my approach to business completely changed. I began to look at my company through the lens of the farmer's discipline. I asked myself, what's really making this business grow? What's draining it? Then I started cutting back. Fewer projects, fewer clients, fewer distractions. The more I simplified, the more strength my main vine gained. I realized that building a business is not about running faster, but about cultivating steadily and intentionally. You don't water the plant once and expect fruit the next day. You care for it daily, even when there are no visible results. The farmer's way also taught me the value of patience. True growth often happens underground, unseen, in the roots. In business, that means refining your processes, strengthening your team, improving your service. You might not see immediate rewards, but every small act of consistency builds the foundation for explosive growth later. Most importantly, the farmer's way is rooted in love and commitment. Just as a farmer cares deeply for his crop, an entrepreneur must care for their customers, especially the best ones. Know them, listen to them, and serve them wholeheartedly. When you nurture those relationships, your business naturally flourishes. This chapter reveals a timeless truth. Building a business is not a race, it's an act of cultivation. Success belongs to those who persist, who observe, who prune, and who care. Like the farmer who tends his one great pumpkin day after day, your greatest achievement will come not from speed, but from patience, devotion, and the quiet confidence that growth is happening even when you can't yet see it.
Chapter 6. The Tourniquet Technique. By the time you've chosen your best seed and learned how to care for it, you'll realize something crucial. Not everything in your business deserves to live. Some parts are bleeding your energy, your time, and your profits, and you must stop the bleeding before it kills you. I call this the tourniquet technique. In medicine, a tourniquet is used to stop a dangerous flow of blood. In business, it's about cutting off whatever drains your company's life force before it's too late. Many entrepreneurs, including myself, have experienced what I call slow bleeding. Everything seems fine. Customers are coming in, cash is moving, employees are working, yet deep down, the business is weakening. You're exhausted, profits are shrinking, and you can't figure out why. The truth is, you're spending your energy keeping unprofitable clients happy, managing failing projects, and maintaining toxic relationships that give nothing back. You're afraid to let go, thinking that losing anything means failure. But in reality, holding on to the wrong things is what kills you. My mentor Frank once told me, sometimes to save your company, you have to cut off part of it. That advice sounded brutal, but it changed everything. I started identifying where my business was losing energy. The wrong customers, unnecessary expenses, broken systems, and I applied the tourniquet. I ended relationships that no longer served us, canceled low-value contracts, and shut down products that drained more than they earned. Each cut hurt, but every time I did it, the company grew stronger and healthier. The tourniquet technique is not about destruction. It's about preservation and renewal. When you stop the bleeding, you create space for healing and growth. It's like pruning a tree. You remove the weak branches so the strong ones can thrive. Most entrepreneurs fail not because they can't grow, but because they refuse to cut. Fear of short-term loss blinds them to long-term survival. Applying this method also tests your courage and leadership. It's easy to make comfortable decisions, but true leaders make the tough ones, letting go of people, products, or clients that no longer fit. The first few cuts are the hardest, but once you feel the relief of a lighter, healthier business, you'll wonder why you didn't act sooner. The lesson of this chapter is simple but powerful. You can't save a business that's bleeding out by hoping it heals itself. You must take control, tighten the tourniquet, and make the cuts that matter. Only then can your business and you recover full strength, ready to grow with clarity and purpose once again. Chapter 7, Favoritism and Rule Breaking. Once you've stopped the bleeding and stabilized your business, it's time to do something most people will tell you is wrong: play favorites and break the rules. At first, this idea sounds unfair. We've all been taught to treat every customer equally, to serve everyone the same. But that's a recipe for mediocrity. The truth is, if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. The greatest businesses in the world grow by focusing almost entirely on their best customers, the ones who value them most, pay them fairly, and align with their purpose. For years, I tried to treat every client the same. I bent over backward for small accounts that drained my time, just to be fair. Meanwhile, my best customers, the ones who truly cared, had to wait. That's when I realized fairness doesn't mean sameness. True fairness means giving your best effort to the people who appreciate and amplify it. When I started favoring my best clients, prioritizing their needs, communicating more, and building deeper relationships, my business completely transformed. Profits rose, stress dropped, and the work became meaningful again. Favoritism, when done with intention, isn't selfish, it's strategic focus. By investing your energy where it matters most, you naturally deliver more value, which in turn attracts more of the right kind of clients. It's a virtuous cycle. The more you serve your best customers, the more they help your business grow. Like the pumpkin farmer who feeds all the nutrients to his strongest pumpkin, you must channel your time and resources into what gives the greatest return. To do that, you must also break some rules, the outdated ones that keep you small. I grew up believing the customer is always right, but that's not true. Some customers are wrong for your business, no matter how much money they bring. You have to learn to say no. No to toxic relationships, no to bad fits, no to deals that compromise your values. Rule breaking isn't about rebellion, it's about liberation. It's the moment you stop playing by everyone else's expectations and start designing a business that truly reflects who you are. Once I stopped apologizing for my standards, I found freedom. I stopped offering discounts just to win deals, stopped working late for clients who didn't respect boundaries, and stopped chasing approval. The result? My best customers became more loyal than ever because they saw that I valued both them and myself. The message of this chapter is bold but simple. You don't build greatness by following every rule. You build it by following your own. When you focus on the right people and dare to reject the rest, your business stops being a burden and becomes a powerful, authentic expression of your best work. Chapter 8, The Wish List. After learning how to focus, prune, and serve only the right people, I realized something vital. A business without a clear vision will eventually lose direction. That's where the wish list comes in, a personal map of what you truly want your business and your life to become. It's not about revenue goals or market share. It's about defining the kind of life you want to live and then shaping your business to support it. Without that clarity, you'll end up saying yes to everyone and drift away from what really matters. For years, I thought I had goals: make more money, grow faster, gain recognition. But those weren't true goals. They were vague ambitions with no meaning. I never stopped to ask, what kind of life do I want? What kind of work makes me feel proud? What kind of people do I want to surround myself with? Because I didn't have those answers, I was running hard in circles, mistaking activity for progress. My mentor Frank helped me change that with one powerful idea. If you don't define what you want, the world will define it for you. So I sat down and wrote my first wish list, not with logic, but with honesty. I wrote that I wanted to work with clients I admired, have time for my family, and build a business that made a real impact instead of just chasing profit. For the first time, I wasn't chasing the world's version of success, I was defining my own. The wish list then became my filter for every decision. If something didn't align with that list, a new project, a client, or even a partnership, I said no. It wasn't always easy, but each no cleared space for a more meaningful yes.
My wish list turned into a compass that kept my business and my life pointed toward what truly mattered. But here's the secret. The wish list isn't static. It evolves as you grow. The person you are today isn't the same as the one you'll be 5 years from now. That's why you must revisit it often, refining it as your dreams and circumstances change. Each time you do, you reconnect with your purpose and find fresh energy for the journey ahead. This chapter reminds us that a business should serve your life, not consume it. The wish list is more than a piece of paper. It's a commitment to living intentionally, to making choices that reflect your deepest values. When you build your business around what you truly desire, you stop chasing success and start creating fulfillment. Because the greatest business isn't just one that grows, it's one that allows you to grow too.
Chapter 9. Let the customers hold the reins. After identifying your best customers and aligning your business with your true purpose, the next step is learning to let your customers hold the reins. In the past, I believed that running a successful company meant controlling everything: the products, the systems, the messaging, even the customer experience. But just like a farmer can't force a pumpkin to grow faster, you can't force the market to bend to your will. True growth happens when you listen, adapt, and allow your customers to guide you toward what truly matters to them. I used to think I knew my clients better than they knew themselves. I built products and designed processes based on assumptions. Sometimes I was right, but often I wasn't even close. When I finally began to listen, to truly observe how customers interacted with our services, what they valued, and what frustrated them, everything changed. I realized my job wasn't to lead them blindly, but to follow their signals wisely. The best businesses don't dictate, they respond, refine, and co-create with their clients. So I began implementing systems for feedback, not as a formality, but as a lifeline. After every project, we called clients to ask how they felt, what worked, and what didn't. We discovered that their criticisms were gold, raw insights that helped us improve faster than any consultant could. Instead of fearing complaints, we started to welcome them. Because when customers trust you enough to tell the truth, that's not a failure, that's a partnership. When you let your customers hold the reins, something powerful happens. They stop being mere buyers and become collaborators. They feel seen, valued, and connected to your mission. And once that happens, loyalty stops being a marketing goal. It becomes the natural result of trust. Those customers turn into your best advocates, spreading your story far more effectively than any ad campaign ever could. This doesn't mean giving up control or bending to every whim. It means understanding that the best way to lead is to listen. You still steer the direction, but your customers help navigate the course. The more you involve them, the stronger your business becomes, not just financially, but emotionally and reputationally. The lesson of this chapter is simple. You don't build a great company by shouting louder. You build it by listening better. When you give customers the reins, they'll take you places you never imagined. Places where your product, your purpose, and their passion all move in the same direction. And that's when your business stops being just a company. It becomes a living, breathing relationship built on shared success. Chapter 10. Big and Healthy. By this stage, your pumpkin, your business, is growing fast and strong. But growth alone isn't enough. What you want is big and healthy growth, expansion that's sustainable, balanced, and deeply rooted. Many entrepreneurs, when success starts to show, rush to scale. They hire more people, add more products, open more branches, and before long, the weight of that growth crushes them. A business that expands too quickly without structure is like a pumpkin that grows too fast and collapses under its own size. I learned this lesson painfully. When my first company began thriving, I assumed it was time to grow aggressively. I opened new offices, took on more clients, and doubled my staff. But within months, everything began to spiral. Quality dropped, communication broke down, and I felt like I was losing control of the very thing I had built. That's when I realized scaling is not the same as growing. Growth is about maturity, stability, and health, not just getting bigger. A skilled pumpkin farmer doesn't force his pumpkin to grow faster, he helps it grow right. He strengthens the roots, maintains clean soil, and provides exactly the right amount of water and sunlight. In business, that means building solid systems and processes before expanding. A healthy business doesn't depend entirely on the founder. It can operate efficiently, deliver quality, and stay consistent even when you step away. That's when you know your business is truly strong. I also discovered that healthy growth begins with people and culture. When your team shares your vision, trusts one another, and feels empowered, the company naturally grows stronger. But when you focus only on profits and neglect your people, your business starts to rot from within, looking impressive from the outside but hollow at the core. That's why I shifted my focus from revenue to relationships, from control to collaboration. I stopped hiring employees and started building a team of partners who believed in the same mission. A truly healthy business, like a healthy body, knows how to rest, recharge, and sustain itself. It has rhythms, moments of intense growth and moments of recovery. I learned to set boundaries. No overbooking, no chasing every deal, no sacrificing quality for speed. Sustainable growth isn't about pushing harder, it's about nurturing smarter. The lesson of this chapter is clear. Don't chase size, chase strength. A big company can crumble overnight. A healthy one can last a lifetime. When you grow with balance, patience, and purpose, when your systems, people, and values all align, your pumpkin doesn't just get larger. It becomes stronger, more resilient, and capable of thriving through every season. That's what true success looks like.
Chapter 11: The Flight Safety Guide. As your business starts soaring to new heights, you may feel like a pilot flying a powerful airplane. Everything is moving fast, the view is spectacular, but one wrong move could bring everything crashing down. This is the moment when many entrepreneurs lose control, not because they fail, but because they lack a flight safety guide, a clear set of systems, rules, and routines that keep the business steady no matter what happens. I got this idea from aviation. Every flight begins with a safety checklist, not because pilots expect disaster, but because they know preparation prevents it. They don't improvise during turbulence, they follow a plan. That's how a business should run. A strong company doesn't rely on chaos or luck, it runs on structure, clarity, and readiness. When you have systems that everyone understands and can follow, your business keeps flying safely even when you're not in the cockpit. For a long time, I believed that flexibility was the key to success. I thought strict processes would kill creativity. But what I learned was the opposite. Structure creates freedom. When your team knows exactly what to do and how to do it, you can step back without everything falling apart. I began documenting everything: how to handle clients, how to respond to problems, how to make decisions. Every success and every mistake became part of our flight manual. It gave my team confidence and gave me peace of mind. And then there's one crucial rule, the same one flight attendants repeat before takeoff. Put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. That sentence changed the way I lead. For years, I thought being a great entrepreneur meant sacrificing myself, working nonstop, fixing every issue, carrying everyone's burdens. But a burned-out leader can't save anyone. You must take care of yourself first, physically, mentally, emotionally. Only when you're strong can you guide others through turbulence. Once I embraced this mindset, everything improved. My team became more self-reliant, my customers more confident, and my business more stable. I stopped reacting to problems and started anticipating them. I no longer feared flying high because I knew the systems would hold. This chapter reminds us that great businesses don't just know how to take off, they know how to stay in the air. A flight safety guide, clear processes, empowered people, and a calm leader turns chaos into confidence. When you build that foundation, you don't just fly higher, you fly longer, steadier, and with joy, knowing that no matter what storms come, your plane, your business will keep soaring.
Chapter 12: Breaking the Market Curve. In business, we're taught to follow the market curve, the life cycle of every product: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. The experts say that when a product reaches its peak, you must quickly launch something new or risk falling behind. For years, I believed that rule. I chased trends, reinvented my offerings, and pushed for constant innovation, until I realized that by chasing the curve, I was letting the market control me. True success, I learned, doesn't come from following the curve. It comes from breaking it. When I studied how giant pumpkin farmers worked, I noticed something fascinating. They don't care about averages. They don't try to grow dozens of decent pumpkins every season. They focus on cultivating one extraordinary pumpkin that defies expectations. They don't follow the standard harvest curve. They create their own. That's exactly what great businesses do. Instead of competing in crowded markets and obeying industry trends, they carve out a niche so unique that the rules no longer apply. For a long time, I ran my company like everyone else. When growth slowed, I launched more services, offered more discounts, and tried to appeal to everyone. Sure, revenue rose a little, but profits dropped and energy vanished. I was running faster just to stay in place. The turning point came when I stopped chasing expansion and started focusing on my best customers, the ones who truly valued our work. I realized that I didn't need a bigger market share. I needed a better market fit. Breaking the market curve means refusing to compete on the same playing field. Instead of being one of many, you become the only one doing what you do in your way. It's not about ignoring the market, it's about rising above it. When you focus on delivering unmatched value to your ideal clients, you stop worrying about competitors. You're no longer in their race. You've created your own track. Once I made that shift, my business stopped depending on trends. I didn't have to slash prices or chase fads. Instead, clients sought me out, not because I was cheaper, but because I was different. We built authority, loyalty, and stability, all by narrowing our focus instead of broadening it. The lesson of this chapter is simple but liberating. Don't let the market define your business. Define your own market. When you stop following the curve and start shaping your own path, competition becomes irrelevant. Like the farmer who grows the one pumpkin that stands out from the field, your business can rise above the noise, unique, resilient, and destined to keep growing long after others fade. Chapter 13: The Next Season. After all the hard work, planting the seed, nurturing the vine, cutting away the weak pumpkins, and harvesting your giant one, every great farmer knows that success in one season doesn't guarantee the next. The next season always comes, and with it, new challenges and new opportunities. In business, just like in farming, growth is not a finish line, it's a cycle. You can't cling to yesterday's harvest. You must prepare the soil again, plant new seeds, and start fresh with renewed vision and energy. I learned this lesson when my company finally achieved what I had dreamed of for years. We were profitable, stable, and respected. For the first time, I thought, I've made it. So I relaxed. But slowly, things began to stagnate. Creativity declined, motivation dropped, and progress stalled. We were still working hard, but without direction. That's when I realized the most dangerous enemy of success is comfort. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. Just like a field left untended, a business without renewal becomes overgrown and unproductive. The key is to treat every achievement not as an endpoint, but as the foundation for the next beginning. I call this the next season mindset. After you've built your first giant pumpkin, your first great success, ask yourself, what's next? What new seed can I plant? What lessons from this harvest will help me grow something even greater? Renewal isn't about abandoning what worked, it's about evolving it. The soil of experience you've cultivated will make the next crop stronger if you use it wisely. Maturity in business doesn't mean slowing down, it means growing deeper, not just bigger. It's about refining your purpose, improving your systems, and continuing to inspire your team. The best companies in the world never stop reinventing themselves, even when they're thriving. They stay curious, humble, and willing to change. But most importantly, your next season depends on your people. No matter how strong your strategy is, without a passionate, aligned team, growth won't last. Share your vision with them, invite them into the dream, and help them see their place in it. A business doesn't grow because one person works harder, it grows because everyone moves forward together. The message of this chapter is timeless. Success is not a destination, but a rhythm. Every season, growth, harvest, rest, renewal has its purpose. When you embrace that cycle with awareness and gratitude, you build not just a business that lasts, but a life that continues to expand with meaning. The next season is always waiting, and if you stay curious, courageous, and committed, your next harvest will be even greater than the last. Chapter 14: How to Apply the Pumpkin Plan to Your Business, Your Story. After sharing my own journey, from burnout to balance, from chaos to clarity, I want to end with one truth. The pumpkin plan isn't just my story. It can be yours too. This final chapter is an invitation to take everything you've learned and plant it in the soil of your own business. You don't need a massive budget or a revolutionary idea. You just need the courage to start small, focus deeply, and grow deliberately. When I meet entrepreneurs around the world, I see the same pattern. They believe success means doing more clients, more products, more marketing, more hustle. But real success comes from the opposite, from doing less but better. The greatest companies aren't built through expansion, they're built through focus. When you concentrate on your strongest seed, the one thing you do exceptionally well, and pour all your energy into it, everything else begins to align naturally. The first step is simple. Identify your golden seed. What do you love doing? What do you do better than anyone else? What makes your best customers come back again and again? That's where your true growth lies. Once you've found it, look at your field, your products, your systems, your clients, and ruthlessly remove whatever doesn't support that seed. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but pruning is what gives life room to grow. Then, nurture your best pumpkin. Focus on your top customers, the ones who respect your work and feel your passion. Serve them with excellence, and they'll become your biggest advocates. Don't chase everyone. Build something remarkable for the few who matter most. As your business starts to flourish, remember the Flight Safety Guide principle. Document, systematize, and empower your team so the company can thrive even when you step away. A truly great business doesn't depend on constant firefighting. It runs smoothly because it's built on clarity and trust. And above all, know this: you can do it. The pumpkin plan isn't a quick fix. It's a mindset, one that leads to freedom, joy, and purpose. When you stop chasing the world's definition of success and start cultivating your own, your business becomes something far more meaningful, a reflection of who you truly are. So take your first step. Plant your seed. Care for it with focus, patience, and love. Soon, you'll look up and realize you've grown something extraordinary. Not just a thriving business, but a story worth telling. Because the real power of the pumpkin plan is not in my journey, but in yours, the one you're about to begin right now.